So I recently watched the new Love, Death and Robots season, and one episode in particular completely caught me off guard. It's called How Zeke Got Religion, and let's just say it starts off as a typical World War II story and ends with ancient Aramaic chanting and a full-on demon fight. Now what I didn't expect is for it to send me down a full-blown rabbit hole. But here we are, because as wild as that episode was, it made me start digging into the occult connections in actual Nazi history. And turns out, there's way more to it than I thought. So in today's video, I want to do two things. First, we're going to break down how Zeke got religion, and then we're going to talk about the real-world history behind it, the Nazi obsession with mythology, pseudo-spirituality, and straight-up supernatural nonsense. Now, a quick disclaimer, I'm not saying the Nazis were summoning demons in real life, obviously, but there were weird rituals, unorthodox beliefs, and dangerous ideologies masquerading as ancient truths. Now with that being said, let's talk about Zeke, and let's talk about the bizarre, often misunderstood history of the occult in Nazi Germany.
No shame in being afraid, but Zeke weren't afraid of nothing.
The episode starts like a typical World War II mission, a bomber crew sent into occupied France to destroy a church. It's a weird target, but nobody asks too many questions. Zeke, the main character, makes it clear early on he doesn't believe in anything. He mocks his crew's prayers and calls religion a fairy tale. Once they're in the air, the mission spirals fast. The church isn't just a building, it's the site of a Nazi ritual. They're trying to summon something supernatural to turn the war in their favor. The result? A fallen angel shows up. The crew fights back with guns, but it's useless. What finally works? A crucifix, a symbol Zeke never cared about until now.
Well, nothing I could say to make it go down any easier, so I just kept my mouth shut and let Zeke keep getting religion.
And this moment got me thinking, like how much of this whole Nazis doing supernatural rituals trope is just fiction and how much of it actually happened? The short answer, it's complicated. But the deeper you dig, the clearer it gets that some of it wasn't just made up for horror stories. Some of it was real, and it started at the top.
In the violent aftermath of the First World War, an increasing fascination with the mystical and the esoteric had swept the German aristocratic and educated classes.
So let's start with Heinrich Himmler. Himmler wasn't just a high-ranking Nazi. According to the Holocaust Encyclopedia, he was the Reichsfuhrer of the SS from 1929 to 1945. Hitler trusted him enough to put him in charge of everything from internal security to the final solution. He was basically the second most powerful man in Nazi Germany. But what makes him relevant here isn't just his power, it's his obsession with race, myth, and the strange spiritual vision he wanted to push. Himmler was raised Catholic but left the church behind. Instead, he became fascinated with Germanic mythology, runes, and what he thought were ancient Aryan rites. He believed the SS shouldn't just be a military force. It should be a kind of spiritual order built on ancient traditions. And this belief, it wasn't just a belief. He tried to embed it into the very identity of the SS. So where did all of this come from? Well, it helps to start with Theosophy, a spiritual movement founded by Helena Blavatsky in the late 1800s. Theosophy mixed ideas from Eastern religions, Western occultism, and esoteric philosophy. It talked about lost civilizations like Atlantis, secret masters, and spiritual evolution.
During its time, the Theosophical Society has attracted some of the highest minds, arts, politics, science.
Then Ariosophy came along and cranked the race angle way up. Ariosophy took Theosophy's ideas and added a heavy dose of racial pseudoscience. It turned mystical evolution into a story about the destiny of the Aryan race. For Himmler, this wasn't just mysticism. It gave him a reason to ditch Christianity and build something he thought was older, more authentic, and racially pure. Moreover, this blend of belief drove action. He redesigned the Wewelsburg Castle to be a kind of spiritual headquarters for the SS.
Wewelsburg had made a deep impression on Heinrich Himmler. "We have been looking for a castle for our SS for a long time," Himmler confides. "I have found a suitable ruined castle dating back to Germanic prehistory."
Runes were everywhere. Ceremonial spaces were built. It was meant to be sacred in their own bizarre, made-up way, but that wasn't the end of it.
In this strange chamber, Himmler and his chosen 12 commune with the Aryan race soul and the spirits of the Germanic ancestors. Deep below the inner sanctum, cut into the solid bedrock, is the crypt, Valhalla. Here are performed ceremonies of the dead. In the center, the wooden coats of arms of a dead SS knight are to be ceremonially burned. 12 stone plinths around the walls will hold 12 urns, each of which will one day hold the armorial ashes of a departed knight. In the crypt burns an eternal flame, symbol of the continuity of the order and its eternal mission in the service of the race.
In 1935, Himmler launched Special Mission H, where the H stood for Hexen, the German word for witches. SS agents, disguised as students, went to over 260 libraries and archives across Germany looking for anything about witchcraft. Himmler believed that witches were ancient Germanic priestesses, spiritual leaders who'd been persecuted by the Catholic Church in a conspiracy he bizarrely blamed on Jews. Now, as we've already understood, this isn't just some side hobby. The SS gathered more than 140,000 documents, built witch dossiers, and even performed witch dances at official ceremonies. Himmler thought modern Germans, maybe even himself, were descendants from these witches. He tried to connect his own lineage to a woman executed for sorcery in 1629. But no surprise, there's no real evidence for that. So the image of Nazis gathered around runes and performing rituals might sound like a movie cliche, but it's based on real things that really happened. Not because the rituals had power, but because powerful people believed they did.
What was occult about Hitler's vision of the new society was that the new man would be superhuman.
No one was more obsessed with this mission than Heinrich Himmler, the leader of the SS. A man who unhesitatingly employed his deviant imagination in service to the occult.
And that's probably me just scratching the surface of the truth behind the Nazi occult. Not the monsters from Love, Death, and Robots, but the real rituals, myths, and beliefs they actually followed. Now, tell me, did you enjoy this episode? Did it make you go down the same rabbit hole as it made me? If not, and if you didn't enjoy this episode, which was your favorite? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you to everyone who took the time of day to watch or listen to this video. And now remember, the important thing is to always keep questioning. Even me. Till next time.